One word. That's all it took. No press release. No interview. No carefully worded statement crafted by a publicist. Just a single word, typed beneath a set of photographs by one of the most famous athletes in American sport. Gorgeous. That's it. That's the whole story, right? A compliment. A nice gesture between two competitors. Except it isn't. Because nothing about this moment is as simple as it looks. And by the time you understand why, you'll never scroll past a comment section the same way again. Here's what you need to know first. The woman who typed that word is Coco Gauff, a Grand Slam champion, a global superstar, someone whose every move is dissected by millions. When she speaks, the internet listens. When she reacts to another player, the player's life changes overnight. And the woman in the photos? Alexa Eala, a name that, not long ago, almost nobody outside the Philippines and the junior tennis circuit had ever heard. Now stop and think about that gap. One of the most recognized athletes on earth, reaching across an ocean of fame, to notice a rising player who was still fighting to be seen. Why? Why her? Why now? To understand that, you have to go back. Back before the photographs. Back before the fame. Back to a court in Dubai, where the real story actually begins, and where things did not go well for Alexa at all. Picture it. The biggest stage of her young career. The opponent, Coco Gauff, one of the most dangerous players in the world. Alexa needed this. A signature win, a signature moment, proof that she belonged. Instead, she got destroyed. 6 games to love. The first set gone before it even felt like it started. Alexa couldn't find her rhythm. Couldn't create pressure. Couldn't do anything but watch Coco control every single point. The second set offered no mercy either. 6-2. Match over. Alexa walked off with 2 games to her name and a brutal, undeniable truth ringing in her ears. The gap between her and the very best was still enormous. For a lot of young players, that's the moment everything quietly falls apart. A loss like that can live in your head. It can turn hope into hesitation, ambition into fear. Nobody would have blamed Alexa for shrinking after a result like that. But she didn't shrink. She adjusted. Weeks later, barely enough time to recover, let alone transform, the 2 players met again. Same opponent. Same memory still raw and fresh. And this time, something was different. Alexa came out and she attacked. She took the ball early. She changed direction with a confidence nobody had seen from her before. She refused, absolutely refused, to let that 6-love scoreline dictate what happened next. And it worked. She won the first set, 6-2. She surged ahead in the second, 2 games to none. The player who'd been humiliated weeks earlier was now the one dictating terms. The gap that looked impossible to close was closing in real time, right in front of everyone's eyes. And then, just like that, it stopped. Coco retired. An injury to her arm. The match ended before it could reach its natural conclusion, before the tennis world could get its answer. Had Alexa truly closed the distance? Or had fate simply intervened before the real verdict could be delivered? Nobody could say for certain. Supporters pointed to the scoreline as proof of a leap forward. Skeptics pointed to the retirement and said, "We still don't actually know." Both were right. Neither had closure. At the net, there were no dramatics, no manufactured rivalry, just 2 competitors and a story left hanging in the air, unfinished. That unfinished feeling? It followed Alexa everywhere after that. Then came Miami, 2025. Alexa stepped onto one of the biggest courts in the sport and defeated one of the most dominant champions in the world. Not a rising player, not a future contender, a proven, elite, terrifying opponent, beaten. Suddenly, the world had to look again. This wasn't potential anymore. This was performance. Flags started appearing in the stands. Filipino fans, an entire nation that had waited generations for a player like this, began filling arenas and filling timelines with pride. Then Wimbledon happened, and the volume got turned up even louder. Global audiences. Global headlines. A name that once lived quietly inside junior tennis circles was now being spoken about on main broadcasts, in mainstream sports conversations, far beyond the game itself. And that's exactly the moment we're standing in when that one word appears. Gorgeous. A year earlier, Alexa needed a career-defining victory just to enter the conversation. Now, a single photograph could do it. No racket, no scoreboard, no opponent across the net. Just Alexa, confident, polished, entirely herself, and one of the most famous athletes on the planet stopping to notice. Because here's the truth nobody's saying out loud. Coco wasn't reacting to a stranger. She'd stood across the net from Alexa at her lowest, 6'love", 6'2", brutal and public. And she'd stood across the net from her again weeks later, watching her come back transformed. She had witnessed the fall. She had witnessed the rise. So when she typed that word, it carried weight that a random comment never could. And this is where the story stops being about tennis and starts being about something much bigger, something far more dangerous. Because attention doesn't care about your ranking. Fame doesn't ask if you're ready. The moment people start watching you for who you are, and not just for what you win, everything changes. A single loss stops being a bad day and becomes a headline. A photograph stops being a photograph and becomes a referendum on your entire career. Alexa is standing at that exact edge right now. She is not yet a finished champion. She is still learning, still building, still figuring out how to survive the brutal physical and mental demands of the top of the sport. But her fame, her visibility, is growing faster than her game can always keep up with. And that gap, between who people think you already are and who you've actually proven yourself to be, is the most dangerous gap in all of sports. So what does it mean, really? One word from one of the biggest stars on Earth. It means the world has started watching Alexa Eala even when there's no scoreboard behind her. It means she has crossed a line most players spend their entire careers trying to reach. But it does not mean she's arrived. It does not guarantee a single future match. The court doesn't care about compliments. It doesn't care about comment sections or viral moments or flags in the stands. Every tournament ahead of her will ask the exact same brutal question over and over again. Can you actually back this up? Because attention opens the door. Only performance keeps it open. Alexa Eala has the world's eyes on her now. The only question left, the only one that actually matters, is what she does with them.